balls of cherries on the 6-foot-high dessert. You'll have to wait for a bite, though. It won't be cut until Saturday at the Taste of Chicago event, where it will be served for free. Road trip, anyone? By the way, ingredients include 450 pounds of cream cheese, 70 pounds of sugar, and 25 pounds of graham crackers.
You know, I like cheesecake, but I'm not sure I like it that much.
Really? You just need like a bite.
It's 1,000 pounds. Where's the other?
Well, are you going to eat all 1,000? I don't think so.
Probably not.
You have friends?
All right, thank you.
Absolutely.
Susan, back tomorrow. We'll see you then. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.
And right now at 5, it's been 1 year since the fatal explosion in downtown Sun Prairie that killed Captain Corey Barr. His wife Abby shares her journey since that explosion. And the community of Sun Prairie continues to remember him as well, how there will soon be a physical reminder of him in Sun Prairie.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5.
And thanks for staying with News 3 Now. It has been 1 year since that fatal gas explosion changed Sun Prairie forever. This is what downtown Sun Prairie looked like just after 7 p.m. on July 10th, 2018, after a contractor hit a gas line. That gas leak led to the explosion in downtown Sun Prairie, leveling several businesses. 2 firefighters were seriously hurt, firefighter Ryan Welch and Captain Barr. Corey Barr would later die from his injuries. 365 days later, this is what downtown Sun Prairie looks like now. The community remembering, still recovering after the explosion, but Sun Prairie is stronger tonight. We have team coverage of the anniversary of that explosion. Susan Simon at the fire station with more tonight. Susan?
It is amazing to see that video. It really puts in perspective how far this community has come in just 1 year. A year ago today, the lives of many Sun Prairie residents were changed forever. Business owners, community members will never be the same following that fatal explosion. But no one has been affected more than the family of Sun Prairie Fire Captain Corey Barr. Abby Barr lost her husband, she lost the father of her children, and the partner that she built a business with together. Our Keely Arthur spoke with Abby about her journey, what things have been like this past year following the explosion.
I feel him with me every day.
It's hard to believe it's been a year since Abby Barr first entered our hearts.
I can't find the proper words in the English dictionary to talk about how amazing he was.
The mother and wife spoke to us just a day after the explosion that shook a community and took her husband, Sun Prairie Fire Captain Corey Barr's life. In that moment, amongst a city of strength, she became Sun Prairie's strongest.
I don't know what we're going to do without him.
In the 365 days since Corey's death, Abby has worked hard to figure out how to do just that, live without Corey by her side.
Obviously, I've learned a lot about grief and loss and what that means. And, you know, one of the things I was under the impression of is, you know, at some point I need to move on, you know, and kind of let go and, like, you know, like leave him here. And one thing I learned is that I can move forward with him, and that's provided me a lot of comfort.
But above all, she says her biggest reason for moving forward is really two. Their twin girls, Aubrey and Haley.
I don't have the option to just lay there and, you know, be miserable and want to hide away from the world. Like, I have to get up for those girls.
Do you see more of Corey in them as they grow?
Yeah, so they're very outgoing and social, which he was for sure. You know, they're not really afraid of going up and talking to people, you know, and just being silly, goofy little girls, you know, and I mean, he was constantly just being silly.
Her daughter's smiling faces have also provided relief and perspective in the legal issues that arose after. Abby is currently being sued for missing payments on the Barr house, which she owned with Corey. The plaintiffs say the money troubles started before the July 10th explosion, which destroyed the bar and restaurant.
I try not to worry about what I can't control at this point in time, so my focus is solely on the girls. You know, I go back, I mean, because that's where my joy comes from.
While the lawsuit seems to have contributed another component to the pain, an antidote to all of this, the Sun Prairie community, which has added layers upon layers of healing.
Every little piece of support has been helpful, whether it's just someone saying, you know what, I'm praying for you, or, you know, it's someone going and doing something big in his honor. And everything in between.
She points to the many lemonade stands that popped up after the tragedy as especially meaningful.
I remember one specific one where the chief was like, a little girl came and she brought $11 and some change. The fact that it's young people, you know, helping out in times of tragedy as well is just so touching.
As we pass the one-year marker of the Sun Prairie explosion, Abby is still trying to find her new normal.
Does anything feel like the way it was before?
No. I feel like I'm living two completely different lives. I've almost been having to rebuild my life from scratch a little bit as well and figuring out where life's going to take me.
While she hasn't figured it out just yet, she says the strength she gets from her daughters, the community, and the man who is very much alive and well in her heart and mind will carry her through to what she hopes could be her strongest chapter yet.
Any strength I have to keep going comes from inside me, and inside me, like, I feel like he's with me. I just feel his presence all the time.
He was a hero, and she certainly is too. Abby previously worked in accounting before the explosion, but since she is taking a little step back from work, taking a little time to let her family heal, she says she wants to find a new career doing something that will help other people. So even after everything she's been through, she's still trying to pay it forward. For the first responders here in Sun Prairie, this one-year anniversary is a day full of mixed emotions. It's very difficult to have to relive everything they've been through a year later. There is so much to be thankful for, but there was also a lot that was lost as well. Sun Prairie Police Lieutenant Kevin Konopacki and Sergeant Ray Thompson were two of the first responders on the scene. Lieutenant Konopacki is a 15-year veteran of the Sun Prairie Police Department. He was the primary source of information in those difficult days that followed the explosion for the community and for all of us in the media and everyone in the surrounding area. Sergeant Thompson had just finished eating dinner with his wife downtown when the explosion happened. What do you remember?
I just remember looking back, looking back and just seeing the big smoke and the flames behind me.
Did you feel it?
I didn't feel it. It was the weird thing. Everybody, I've talked to a lot of people and they said I could feel like they could feel the shock waves going through them, or like they could feel something going through. I don't remember that. I just remember looking back and seeing it, and then I felt something hit my arm, and then I ducked in behind a truck that was right there on the scene, and then it rained. It was like it was raining, but it was just debris.
The magnitude of what happened, I truly believe that with the teamwork between police and fire, that we truly saved lives that day. But on the other hand, it's very bitter because we lost such a great firefighter in Corey.
Sergeant Thompson broke his arm in that incident. He was hit with debris. Since the explosion, 25 new firefighters have joined the ranks of the Sun Prairie Fire Department, many of them serving in a volunteer capacity. And the police department has started a Twitter page to better communicate and up-to-date information with the public. Captain Corey Barr was the first responder in the city of Sun Prairie, the community of Sun Prairie, to lose his life in the line of duty. The community is gathering tonight to honor Captain Barr with a very special remembrance ceremony. Our Amy Reed is outside Fire Station 1 tonight in Sun Prairie and joins us now. Amy?
We're getting ready for that ceremony that will start in about an hour. At the podium, we're expected to hear from a few people: Fire Chief Garrison, Abby Barr, and Mayor Paul Esser. They're going to give their remarks on what happened a year ago today and what they've experienced since then. After that, we'll walk down to that side of the explosion and have a moment of silence and prayer for Corey Barr. We'll be live streaming the whole thing for you guys on Facebook and in our app, so you can check it out there. We'll also bring you the updates at 6 and 10. Back to you.
All right, Amy, thank you so much. Perhaps no one knows more what the past year has been like for the city of Sun Prairie than its mayor, Paul Esser. Esser says he still shudders to remember the night of that explosion a year ago. He was in a meeting at City Hall when he got the call. A large part of his city was on fire. In the days and months since, Mayor Esser has overseen numerous rebuilding projects. Today, his town's main street is nearly back to normal, except for the grassy plot of land where the bar house once stood and the still shuttered landmark across the street.
Well, we have a lot of planning to do on the rest of the intersection, but this is one that has a lot of historical significance. It's Old City Hall. It was built in the late 1800s. Many interesting things have happened in this building over the years, so it's nice, it's important that they're able to maintain it.
A group out of Chicago is leading the rebuilding efforts for the Bristol Main Street intersection. They're still in the planning process with another series of meetings scheduled for later this month, and they hope to have a project and a timeline finalized by the end of this year. It has been a long road back for a lot of the businesses that were injured, that sustained damage here in the explosion in Sun Prairie. But Jamie Perez spent the day here today revisiting with business owners and reflecting on how far they've come. They certainly have. Jamie?
Yeah, they definitely have. And when you think about just how much damage all of the businesses dealt with that day, it's actually pretty hard to believe how good downtown looks at this point. But things were not just physically damaged that day. People were emotionally damaged as well. A lot of them still recovering, especially as they all reflect on that day 1 year ago today. Salvatore's Tomato Pie is just one example of that. They are back in business after dealing with a tremendous amount of damage from a year ago. The owner, Patrick DePula, says this time last year was really tough on him and his business, but says he could not have done this without the generous support of his community.
But somebody started this gift card campaign for us on a day that was really horrible. And sorry, a little emotional about it, but you know, I just think about whoever did that for us was amazing, because you know, we had several $1,000s in sales that day on a day that we're closed, and I'm wondering, you know, what our future is going to hold.
Well, whoever that person was that started that campaign for Sal's, you helped them raise several $1,000s, helping them get back into business. Now, Sal's, as well as many other businesses, are actually paying it forward today by offering special discounts. Here are just a couple of examples from what's going on tonight. Glass Nickel is offering 25% of their pizza sales to the Sun Prairie Fire Department. Salvatore's Tomatoes Pies is offering 10% of their total food sales, also to the fire department. Faded Roots Boutique offering 10% of their sales, and they're going to donate that to a college account for Barr's daughters. Again, those are just a few examples of the businesses participating tonight. For a full list of participating businesses, you can head on over to our website right now at channel3000.com.
Boy, it is amazing and inspiring to see the support in the community that continues to this day. Jamie Perez, thank you so much. Children and their families here in Sun Prairie are taking an opportunity to thank first responders at the library. The Sun Prairie Library is setting up a card-making station where people can send letters to firefighters, police officers, and EMS personnel to show their appreciation for keeping their community safe. That is extremely meaningful. Captain Corey Barr's presence, of course, has never left Sun Prairie, but there will soon be a physical reminder of him right here in the city that he loved. Our Rose Schmidt traveled more than 300 miles to an art studio in Minnesota to share just what will happen and where that reminder will go. Rose?
Yes, well, Susan, the Sun Prairie Fire Department is just about a block away from where we're standing now, the site of that deadly explosion that killed Fire Captain Corey Barr. So it's only fitting that the location his wife Abby chose is that fire department as a means of a place where they can place a statue honoring Captain Corey Barr's sacrifice and service.
It's been called a hidden gem among a cornfield.
We're basically offer something to them that nobody else makes.
At Brodian Studios in Kimball, Minnesota, 70 miles from Minneapolis, the silent accomplishments speak for themselves.
You really have to see it.
The owner, Nick Christensen, says each room represents stories, faces, and a different part of the 74-step process of turning bronze into something incredibly lifelike.
There's just a lot that entails.
Nick's team is working on some rather whimsical projects.
There's a flying monkey standing right here on this arm here.
Like these Wizard of Oz statues headed to Michigan.
So when it's done, it'll look like that.
But most of their work honors the fallen military members, law enforcement, and firefighters from around the country.
Because there's usually a lot of meaning behind it.
Meaning that we'll soon head to Sun Prairie, as the fire department will get a statue to honor its own fallen hero, Fire Captain Corey Barr, complete with identical representations of the Sun Prairie firefighters' gear. The design is still a work in progress, but the end result will be a firefighter holding Captain Barr's helmet.
It's just his arms are going to be in a different position for Sun Prairies. Rather than holding the helmet out, his hand's going to actually be like on a stone or a brick.
That likeness and recognition will end up hundreds of miles from the Minnesota cornfield.
Depending on what the sculpture memorial is, there's a lot of built-up emotion.
Speaking volumes for someone who no longer can.
We create it, make it a reality.
Sun Prairie Fire and Rescue raised $10,000 to build that statue, and the City Council approved another $20,000 for the project. Now, the original goal was to have that statue in place today for the one-year anniversary celebration and ceremony today, but now the new timeline is to have it done by fall.
It's unfortunate that it wasn't ready for today.
Definitely.
But that'll just give us another excuse to come back. You know, a year ago today, you and I were standing right in this same place together.
Definitely.
Isn't it amazing to see what's transpired?
I think just even to look at this area now from what it was like a year ago versus now, it looks completely different. You couldn't even drive through this area a year ago. So.
Yeah, if somebody didn't tell you, you would have had no idea that what had transpired in this community is truly amazing.
But now they're going to have a place to put his statue to honor him.
Yeah, that'll be something to see. All right, Rose, thank you so much. Just a reminder that there will be a remembrance ceremony tonight to reflect on the events of a year ago. It will start at 6 o'clock at the fire station 1 that Rose was just talking about. We'll hear from both the mayor and the fire chief. That will be followed by a walk to the location of the Barr House at 7 o'clock and a prayer and a moment of silence for Corey Barr. Downtown Sun Prairie businesses will also be remembering the events that happened a year ago by staying open later and donating a percentage of their sales to different causes. So it's a day of reflection, it's a day of celebration, and it's also a day of somber remembrance here in Sun Prairie, but just amazing to see how far this community has come in such a short time. Eric, back to you.
All right, well done, Susan, and our team, and well done to everyone in Sun Prairie. Our Sun Prairie Stronger coverage will continue throughout the evening on News 3 Now at 6 and 10 and on channel3000.com as well. More to come on News 3 Now at 5. Up next, several businesses in downtown Madison were without power today. We'll have an update on that situation. Plus, tonight on News 3 Now at 6, after a 5-year-old boy tragically died, his family is helping his legacy live on. They're giving back to the Madison Police Department and how you can help. We'll be right back. A power outage affected areas of downtown Madison this morning. The police department said at about 9:30 the power was out at the city-county building, municipal building, and other buildings in that area. Officers helped direct traffic in the area because traffic signals were actually out. An MG&E spokesman said that up to 30 customers were affected. Power was restored by about noon. Let's get a look at First Alert forecast now. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canaldi joining us. Gary?
Well, it's very warm and humid early this afternoon, but the humidity levels have dropped noticeably just over the last couple of hours. You can see on visible cloud track that we had some buildups of clouds here, but notice nothing really developed out of the showers. They may develop into thunderstorms farther to the east, but right now the air has dried out. There are some other clouds out to the west that'll turn skies partly cloudy for tonight. As you look on Doppler track, there's a few sprinkles of rain out to the west of us, and so far the only thunderstorms have really been up through the UP of Michigan, where there might be a threat for some strong to severe thunderstorms later tonight. Live here from the Quibi Radio Skycam in Platteville, just a few fair weather cumulus clouds there. The WISC Skycam showing mainly clear skies, and the Edgewater Skycam finally back in service, showing just a few clouds on the southeastern horizon. As we check out our almanac for today, our high temperature 87, the low temperature at a muggy 74, and right now we're at 85 degrees, but notice the dew point temperature. It was in the low 70s earlier. It's dropped to the upper 50s, so the air has dried out noticeably. The winds out of the west-northwest now at 10 miles per hour. In fact, you can see that wind shift to the west. Here's the southerly winds that were out ahead of the cold front, so you can very clearly see where the front is right now, just pushing into Lake Michigan. And while temperatures are still warm here, Milwaukee right along the front at 92, and notice to the west, those 70s out to the west will probably be around 80 for tomorrow, but with less humidity because those dew point temperatures in the 70s in Michigan have dropped off into the upper 50s and lower 60s out to the west of us, so the air will be much more comfortable. Heat index right now, you can see the heat indices in the 90s out to the east of us, but to the west, much more comfortable weather. Now, while our weather is pretty quiet here, we're going to see a building area of heat. One thing that may give us a temporary break from it is down in the Gulf of Mexico. This is a tropical depression, could become tropical storm and maybe Hurricane Barry before it's forecast to move inland around Louisiana sometime around Saturday. If some of that moisture makes it as far north as Wisconsin by the middle of next week, that could at least give us a temporary break from the heat with some thunderstorms and maybe some heavy downpours. If the moisture stays farther to the south, our temperatures will be even warmer than you see we have forecast, and the humidity levels could also be higher as well. But right now, that cold front has kind of cleared us out. It's warm, but not as humid, and much more comfortable weather's on the way for tomorrow, but it won't last very long. For tonight, look for skies to become partly cloudy. It'll be cooler, less humid, low temperature at 65. Tomorrow, a mostly sunny day, but it'll be pleasantly warm with low humidity, high temperature at 80. On future track, you can see tonight, skies partly cloudy, low temperatures mid-60s, high temperatures tomorrow around 80 degrees, those northerly winds drying out the air. Tomorrow night, temperatures drop into the upper 50s, very comfortable weather expected, and then high temperatures will be in the middle 80s as we head into Friday, again with mostly sunny skies. Now, a little more humidity comes back for the weekend. That could lead to a thunderstorm chance Friday night into Saturday morning. And then after that, you can see we have alert days in the forecast for high heat and humidity with highs in the upper 80s to low 90s, nighttime low temperatures in the 70s, and very little in the way of rain chances other than Wednesday and Thursday of next week. As we take a look at first alert traffic right now, there's the view on Highway 151 heading back toward the interstate on the southwestbound side there, and that's because 151 is closed northbound, just north of Sun Prairie because of a traffic accident there. Around the Madison area, some delays on the Beltline right now, mainly in the eastbound direction to the interstate right now in pretty good shape, but right now a 30-minute commute on the eastbound Beltline from University Avenue to the interstate, 21 minutes going back in the westbound direction. Heading out of Madison, it's 27 minutes to Janesville, 22 minutes to Sauk City, and 20 minutes heading to Sun Prairie on 151, but again, you're going to be taken off of 151 north of Sun Prairie. That's your News 3 Now First Alert traffic.
Gary, thank you. More to come on News 3 Now at 5. The Big Apple celebrating the Women's World Cup champions. We'll take you to the celebration after a short break. City rolled out the red carpet and the ticker tape for Team USA, the Women's World Cup soccer champions. The team traveled through what is known as the Canyon of Heroes. Thousands of soccer fans lined the route in Lower Manhattan to celebrate with Team USA. Throughout its unprecedented World Cup run, Team USA has used its notoriety to promote equal pay for women. At a City Hall ceremony, co-captain Megan Rapinoe told fans everyone has a responsibility to make the world better.
This is my charge to everyone. We have to be better. We have to love more, hate less. We got to listen more and talk less. We got to know that this is everybody's responsibility, every single person here.
All the team members received a key to the city before heading off to LA for yet another celebration. We'll have another check of your forecast in just a moment. Stay with us.
Here's a look at some of the stories we're working on. What looks like the first hurricane of the season in the U.S. is bearing down on the Gulf Coast. We are in New Orleans, where parts of the city are already underwater. We'll talk with a couple at the center of a stunning fertility clinic mix-up. And the end of the road for this iconic bug. That's tonight on the CBS Evening News.
And Gary's back. One final check of our forecast.
Humidity is dropping. That's drying out the air. Radar shows a couple of sprinkles in southeastern Minnesota. Those should fizzle out before they reach us. Otherwise, look at these temperatures. It's still 85 in Madison, but notice to the west, upper 70s showing up, and those dew point temperatures dropping into the upper 50s. It's going to feel much more comfortable. But the heat and humidity will be back by the weekend, and we have alert days in the forecast from Sunday through Friday of next week for high heat and humidity. Some of the moisture from that tropical weather system could reach us Wednesday and Thursday. We'll have to watch that.
All right, Gary, thanks. We're back in 30 minutes with more updates. Stay tuned now for the CBS Evening News.